Hello and welcome to Diana's Makerspace. As November 2nd, 2025. On Halloween, after watching Firing Line, we had a music party and we celebrated. Also, a little bit later at night, I helped one person with tutoring, and today I helped one person with tutoring. So basically, they're caught up. But let me introduce you to the Barbie sorority as it exists now. This is the Barbie story as it exists now. In the background, you can see I'm watching YouTube with the Polish Youth Orchestra playing Hungarian dances number 5 and number 6. And before then, we watched the Nutcracker Ballet from the Bolshoi on YouTube from 1989. Um, the, the deer is Doe, then Jennifer, Cookie, Frosty, and then going over is Suziska, Henry, and sitting up is Annette, and behind is Lala, Mike, Sandy, Barbie, Diana Davis, who was born male and transitioned, Anastasia, and watching is Karen and Pingy, and then Stephanie M, and Jennifer M. And guarding the house is Blackie, and behind him is his father Chipper giving him encouragement and watching his back. Well, let me know what you think, and I'd like to mention something regarding with this new season coming up. Every year we always would watch the Nutcracker Suite because part of my family has Russian heritage. It's actually my ancestry is Russian, Prussian, Polish, German, and Norman, as well as Scotch Irish. And we always believe in supporting all of our cultures. Also, I'd like to say that basically based on what has happened since the last Olympics, if we really want to solve problems that we have, we got to stop the Russophobia. Not all Russian people are horrible. Russian people have a very high culture. However, sometimes basically it interferes too much by the media, makes too much generalizations. We need to get down to the facts, and we need to be able to talk over coffee, and we need to be able to talk over coffee in Starbucks. Also be able to share different designs and to get back to talking about different concepts, as well as also understanding how people change in life. And to realize that basically our most valuable thing we have are those basically of our children and young adults and adults in their 30s. This is the Polish Youth Orchestra, conducted by Malkov Tomaszewicz. And a friend of mine always asks me, said, "Well, how do you know how to pronounce Russian and Polish names?" What happened was I was taught that by my grandparents. I have trouble due to my age of reading Russian. I can understand some spoken Russian, some spoken Polish, but basically. But my point is, we all are part of a world community. We need to work together. We need to stop our generalizations and stereotypes. And if we really want peace worldwide and to end this horrible European war, in other words, start after the Olympics, we need to end Russophobia. Part of ending Russophobia is in my own neighborhood. When I lived in Kenosha, we had 3 churches. We had the Russian church, the Italian church, and the Polish church. Mr. Suchek, who was my 6th grade teacher, was a deacon at the Russian church, and the Russian church taught a parochial school in Russian and English. The Polish church taught parochial school in Polish and English, and even on the building you'd see Skoja, which is Polish for school. And the Italian church taught parochial school in Italian and English. And the churches, respectively, the Italian church used to be known as Holy Rosary Church. The Russian church was the Russian Orthodox Church near Washington Park in Kenosha. And the Polish church was St. Casimir's Church, which was near Big Star, on what near Washington Road in Sheridan. And part of the reason why my Barbies is why one Barbie is named Suziska. It's named after my mother. My mother was named Susan, and my grandmother and mother were very strong-willed women. And what made them get together is, at one point, my mother didn't like told my grandma how she didn't like being called Susie, Susan, because my aunt would go Susan, and like that. And so what happened was my grandmother started referring to in Polish and Russian as Suziska. My mother preferred that as a nickname and always preferred that. And basically, the reason why one of my newest Barbies is named Anastasia, it's named after my grandmother, although her name in the United States was Bernice. She was from a Russian noble house, and she was one of the few people in the Russian daughters in the Russian noble house that volunteered to learn to be a seamstress. And she taught me how sewing techniques as my mother that I do today when I make Barbie clothes and when I make the beds, duvets, the cushions, the mattresses, and also the day pillows. And part of the reason why my grandmother believed that is though she could have just sat back on her noble heritage when she came to the United States, insisted on living in New York and insisted on living in High Manhattan, but her and my grandfather insisted on living in Kenosha. And part of the reason was because one part of Kenosha has some white pines that reminded her of her native Russia, but also they wanted to live a basic life. They didn't want to live a life of high drama, being pursued by the press or high intrigue. They like going to McDonald's, they like going to Big Boy, they like going to Wendy's. Even with a friend of mine, she prefers that we can go out Fridays to Wendy's, even though sometimes it's a little bit hard on both of us. It's sometimes I wish I could take out more, but she prefers that we keep the simple life, just like my grandparents did and my parents did. So, like many people who are from higher families that come to the United States, they give up their nobility, and actually, my grandparents actually gave up their wealth to be able to live a simple life. So, to those who are trying to play games still in international politics in Europe and other parts of the world, stop the Russophobia. And I like the philosophy like when I work with AliExpress and Temu. AliExpress sells me good stuff, the quality stuff, reasonable prices, and they're always on time, always on delivery, and also no geopolitics. So for this Christmas season, if people really wish to listen to what I say, stop the Russophobia, stop the generalization about Russian people. We got to realize we all drink from the same trough, and we got to start working together. No more wars. This has been Diana's Makerspace.